Welcome back once again to Richard's Tour Room. Today we're going to tackle a restoration. Now what you're looking at is the Mego 12-inch Farrah Fawcett-Majors fashion doll. Now the problem with almost all of these is Mego melt. And what is involved in that is on these dolls, the arms and the legs are rubber like a Barbie, and the hands, torso are a hard plastic, and the head doesn't have any effect, although it is vinyl. Now what's weird is, as you can probably already see, the leg is falling off there. The plastic reacts with the rubber over time and it melts this. In fact, you pop these arms off and you trim all the melted plastic from around her shoulders and armpits here, and then you do the same thing. You don't have to pop the legs off to do it, but all this is going to be soft around where every area where this vinyl is touching the hard plastic. And you just take you can just take a hobby knife, or you can even take, like, one of these, and you just carefully trim it, and then until you get down to solid plastic again. And usually it's good to go. I mean, a lot of times it will kind of creep back, and there are things like putting clear nail polish on between these so that it doesn't touch anymore. I've not tried that. I don't see why that wouldn't work. The arms, if I can, there, see, the arms pop off fairly easily. Problem is, they've got these little pegs like this. They also used to have pegs down here in the hips. Here's one of them. I already took it out of the leg. It goes in here, just like that arm did, and then it's held in to this hole, which, as you can see, is grossly enlarged on both sides because it's all melted. In fact, this is still kind of soft inside here. And as you can see, this one's a little damaged because I tried getting it out and it just did not want to come out. So what I had to do was heat up some boiling water in a tea kettle, and I poured it into a Pyrex measuring cup, and then I just basically dunked this sucker in there for a couple of minutes. And then I took a screw, just like a kind of a self-tapping or a wood screw or metal screw, put it in there, and then I just grabbed it with some vice grips, and eventually it comes out. Now I have to do that to this one so I can get that one out. So basically like that, and then dunk it in the hot water, grab it with your pliers, and but you got to leave it in there till it warms up enough to get it out. I don't think it would break, and I probably, if I really yanked hard enough, I probably could get that out without boiling it, but I'm just afraid that it might break, so I'd rather take the chance on heating it up and softening it up just a little bit. So anyway, what we're going to do at that point, after we get that all done, I bought these really thin, they call them fender washers. Got them at Ace Hardware. I don't know the size. I guess I should have checked that out. Well, let's see. They look like they're about an inch, I guess. According to these squares, that's an inch. So, but the hole, I couldn't find any with the hole the right size, because this, in my plan, where'd it go? This is going to need to go through the hole. So I took one and I drilled the hole out, as you can see. And what they're going to do is, I'm going to put them in here like this. I probably could just leave it like that, but seeing as there's so much slop in here, I think that this would probably move around a little bit with how I'm planning on fixing it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take some epoxy or JB Weld or something, and I'm going to glue the snot out of these, put both on, the same time, like this. You can see. And then I'll grasp them with like some clothespins or pliers or vice grips or something and let that dry. So then what I will do, let me get this off here. So I get this out. See, now that won't go through that side of it because it's got a lip on it, and that's how it originally was held together. So you can see this here has a same kind of, this lip is inside here, and it was originally put together and held in place by the body, but since the hole has just melted away, you can no longer do that. So what it's going to do is we're going to do this. This is going to go through. Now, this is just a temporary, this is really tight because I didn't drill the hole quite big enough. I got to ream it out just a little bit more. Well, anyway, you get the idea. I got to drill the hole bigger. So let me zoom in here so you can see. All right. Now, as you can see, that pin is through the washer. Now, this wider part, see better there, this wider part is going to go flush up against here, and this is going to be inside her body. So glue this. Then when that's all done, this side will be poking through just like her armhole, and you just simply take the leg, push it on, snap, and there you go. That'll be on. I'm going to take this screw, I'm going to cut off the head, and I'm going to screw it into both sides, so it'll be basically like that, and that'll hold that even stronger and push it out so that these don't get pushed in when you go to try to pop the legs on as well. So that'll be like inside like this. See if I can show this to you. So basically, this will go through like this, and this will be, you know, in here, in between. Oops, wrong way, this way. With the screw through it. And then this one, the screw, this washer will go on the other side. And same thing, put the leg back on. And she should be fixed, good, not good as new, but good enough to dress up and display, and she should be able to sit and everything when she's all done. So that's my plan. So as we go through that, I'll show you what happens. So I already told you what I'm going to do, so the next thing you're going to see is me having these drilled out and gluing this together, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, I took the arms off just so it'd be a little easier to show, and the head. So this is our finished product. I put the cutoff screw between the two hip pins here, and I cut it so that they were in approximately the position that they would have been in if the plastic were still integral on this hip joint here. And then we took these two flat washers, and as I explained, I drilled the centers out because the holes didn't come a right diameter for these hip pins to go through. And the shoulder of the hip pin, of course, as I explained, is on the other side of the washer. And in between here and the body, I used this stuff here. You can use whatever you want. I just happen to have this on hand. The nice part is that this is clear, so it's even though you can see, once you get the legs back on, you can see these washer edges between the joints. At least the glue is clear. I don't know if that makes much difference, but I like to use the clear for as much as I can, just in case. So basically, I'm hoping this works. because it's more of a one-shot thing because I don't want to take these back off. Although, so theoretically, I suppose you should be able to. So basically, you're going to pop the legs back on, and hopefully these will snap all the way into the joint. Probably easy if I did both at once. There goes one. And two. There we go. And they're still movable, and they're very tight joint. Look at that. Sitting down, you can't even see the washers. And they're barely even visible if you had it in a normal position like this. It's just a tiny little bit that shows there. So I think that's a pretty good repair. So if you wanted to continue to, as you can see on these have been trimmed enough because of all the melted plastic that these will not touch again up here. So you shouldn't have to worry about this hip getting Mego melt again, because nothing's touching anywhere anymore on these. But the arms will. The head really doesn't seem to do much. I mean, you can see there's really pretty much zero Mego melt around this neck plug. It just seems to be a little bit of a different vinyl than the arms and legs. So you don't have to really worry about that. But this will remelt with the arms on here. So what I thought would be a good idea, take something like, see how this plastic, like things come in this blow molded plastic that you get on products a lot. It's nice and thin and flexible. I would just take and cut two little pieces out and cut them the exact diameter of this shoulder area, the flat part, and cut a hole in the middle and just put it on there. You don't have to glue it or anything, because the arm will hold it on when you snap it on, and it won't interfere in anything because it's so thin. It'll be just a very thin piece of plastic between. I don't think I really need to show you that. I just think I explained it pretty well enough. You're basically cutting a washer out of some thin plastic and putting it on here. So let me see if I can find a dress, and I'll cut those washers out and show you the final product. Well, I probably should have showed you this beforehand, but I didn't think about it. I actually have this Toni Tennille doll from the same time period as Farrah, and she has not been touched yet for repairs. Now you can see her leg here, that joint. If I try to pull this leg off, the same thing's going to happen that happened with Farrah. It's going to be it's going to rip the plastic right out, and she's going to need repair just like we did the Farrah. And as you can see up here, you can get a better idea of what actually happens with this, the arms where they melt. You can see how much plastic is oozing out of those joints, and they get tight, and you can barely move them. But I mean, if you move them, there, see how much needs to be trimmed? That's all soft. You can see what I do with my fingernail in it. And now it's also on her, I noticed her neck did get a little tiny little bit, but nothing that needs too much attention. But the hips, it's all soft. Now I can show you between what happened with her and Farrah. Now you see the difference in how much plastic had to get removed from Farrah to make her work. See how much wider her hips are over here compared to how much was trimmed off of Farrah. So anyway, that's what you start out with. And here's basically what you end up with. These dolls do not stand up on their own, so they do need a stand. And I did put the little discs in between her shoulders, and you can't even tell we can't even see them, but hopefully that'll help, and she will survive for 40 more years. And there you go, repaired 1977 Mego Farrah. Thanks for watching, and I hope you will join me for future videos. Bye-bye.